Hello and welcome to the Child Care Business Coach podcast. My name is Evelyn Knight. Happy 2021. Today that I'm recording this, it is January 19th, 2021, and this is my first recording in 2021. I'm a little bit behind on my podcast, so I do apologize for that. My husband has pretty much spent the whole year in the hospital so far, so things have not gone well for me, and my 2021 is really just starting, but that's okay. I am going to keep a positive mindset and just put that behind us and move forward from here. So with that in mind, I decided to talk to you guys today about mindset and how very important it is to our success. So before I really dive deep into it, I just want to mention to you guys, I do have a Facebook group. And I go live every Monday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, noon Eastern. In that group and during my teachings, I just focus on the mindsets we need as leaders in early childhood education in order to really be the best version of ourselves. Your mindset and your mental health is vital to success in anything in life, really, but in ECE especially. We have very stressful jobs. Early childhood education is very high pressure and very stressful. So the more we take care of us, the more successful we will be for our team and most importantly for the children that we love and care for. So because of this, I do like to bring as much insight as I can. I use my background with my degrees in psychology. And for those of you who don't know, I'm also a certified life coach. So every Monday, free training in my Facebook group. I will link my Facebook group to the show notes. But in case you don't want to look up show notes, you can find it under facebook.com/group/childcare business coach. So it's just childcare business coach. There is no the in that. I do also upload all the videos that I record on Facebook to my YouTube channel, but that one I'm going to have to put a link in the show notes too. I don't actually have an official name. YouTube has given me more of a code for that. So if you aren't a fan of Facebook, you can find all my videos on YouTube. So if that's something you want to really dive into, and I highly recommend it, here on the podcast, I really like to focus on the tactical, on business, but really it has to go hand in hand. If you want to become a great leader and you want to really find success, you have to work on your mindset. Mindset is vital. Look at the situation I'm in right now. My husband has been on dialysis for almost 2 years at this point. And we just hit a situation where the peritoneal dialysis, which we can do at home, no longer works. It has failed. So now they have to move him to an in-clinic where he actually has to go into a clinic for 4 hours a day, 3 hours a week to get his treatments done. And as I watch the person that I've been with for 29 years just slowly, honestly go away, it is incredibly hard. It is a very very hard process to live through. So without really working on my mindset, without really focusing on the positive and taking a conscious approach to dealing with what I am dealing with right now, I would probably lose everything. I don't know how I would keep it going. Honestly, it is really hard enough just to watch someone you love go through all of this. So it does take a conscious decision and actions on my part to keep going and to keep running 2 successful companies. At this point, I have my podcast. I own Child Care Business Professionals, which is the company that I run that helps owners and directors have successful centers and duplicate what I have created in my child care center, right? And then I also have my child care center, which I have an amazing team. And I know they honestly really don't need me there anymore. They like to have me there, but I really know that they are fine without me at this point, right? But seeing what I see, living with what I live with right now with my husband's health, it would really be easy just to shut down and just give up on everything. Right. And it's almost like that's what we want to do when the going gets rough, right? Think about when COVID really first hit and was at its peak. How many of us just wanted to just throw in the towel? It takes that control of our mindset. It takes really working through issues and focusing on staying positive to make it sometimes. I've said it over and over again. And honestly, you guys, I've created so many videos and these podcasts that I kind of forget sometimes which one I said it on. But what really keeps me grounded is having a very clear vision of where I'm going to go. I will record a podcast episode on how detailed I get with my life vision. I do have a previous episode on how to create one, so go back in my older episodes. I highly recommend going through the steps. For my members, I help you create a tangible vision. I help with vision boards, with everything, because honestly, when things get like they are for me right now in my life, that is what keeps me going. Returning to my vision, reading it over and over again, looking at my vision boards. I have a couple. I keep one on my laptop. I keep one in my office. I'm looking at it right now. When I'm really down, I just look at it and remember that life goes on. It might not go on the way we wanted it to. Things may not happen as we expected, but it doesn't mean it stops, right? A lot of my goals and dreams, even though now I face a life where I thought I was going to achieve those with my husband, I know now I'm not going to. And as hard as that is to deal with, as hard as it is, it doesn't mean I still don't get to experience those things. It doesn't mean that that part of my life is gone and it's not over. I can still live, right? It's just not going to be the way I thought I was going to live. It's not going to be with the person I thought it would be. And that is hard to stomach. It is hard to deal with, but I have control over how I deal with that and how I stomach it. And for those of you listening, some of you might be thinking, okay, what does this have with early childhood education, right? What does this have with running a child care center? It really does have everything, you guys. All of us face disasters in our life. Every single one of us do. It's just a matter of when and what kind. For you, it might be a tornado that hit your home or your center. It might be a hurricane, an earthquake. It might be losing a mother. It might be somebody committing a crime against you, a horrible car accident. It could be so many different things, but we all go through these things in our life. So when we're prepared mentally, not just getting your ducks in a row, like I've spoken to in other podcast episodes, but really preparing your mind for these times. That is what will make you through. That is where you will get to the point that you won't lose everything. I've talked about it in a previous episode, but in 2012, my life hit a different disaster. That's when I was actually diagnosed with a neurological disease. And ironically, my husband was also in the hospital. That year was just, I can't even tell you guys. We were staying in a hotel room that got broken into. My son came literally face to face with the perpetrator. My husband was in the hospital. I had 2 doctors at the time ask me if my affairs were in order. I was diagnosed with a neurological disease all within about a 9-month span, right? And that's not even everything. There's actually even more that happened to us at that point. During that time, I froze. Instead of controlling my mindset and my thoughts, I really just let my mind run rampant, right? I didn't try and take control of it. And I went into a very, very deep and dark depression, very deep and dark. And to the point that I couldn't leave my house for a couple months and everything did fall apart around me. I almost lost my companies because of it, because instead of really taking control, I just froze up. I went within myself and I almost lost my center. If I didn't have the amazing management team that I have, which by the way, I still have, I would have lost everything. I would have absolutely lost everything because I froze. This time, my life is hitting another one of those crazy intersections that is just life-changing. And this time I know better. I have to keep a positive mindset. I have to actively work at it. I have to make sure that I keep control of my businesses, that I don't let this tear me down and tear me apart like I did last time. It took me years to unbury myself from the mess I created from freezing last time. Last time when I froze up, it created so many disasters for me financially. It literally took me years to unbury myself. right? I've only been in the clear now for about 3 or 4 years. Most of that took place in 2012. It was probably about 2017 when I finally was free from the disasters that I created because I didn't have control of my mindset and I let things get out of control. And when I allowed things to get out of control, I had to literally dig my way out. So that is why I really focus so much on mindset and why I wanted to tell you, those of you who are on my podcast, about the mindset trainings I do. It is 100% free. I have a huge passion for this industry. I know what it feels like to be an owner that is just alone out there, that feels like an absolute island. I've almost lost my centers. Over the 15 years I've been an owner, there's 2 times that I almost had to file bankruptcy. I can tell you that second time is the one I'm talking about now, where I had this life disaster. I froze up, almost lost everything. And when push comes to shove, your creditors, the IRS, people don't care. They don't care what you're going through. I had documented information showing medically that I was in narcoleptic comas for a while. And no, they really don't care. You can be in a coma and they don't care. We're still responsible for our responsibilities, right? Just like now with my husband, I could go to anybody, all my creditors, and tell them, my husband's dying. They still want their money. I still have to produce. Business life, it goes on. No matter what's happening around you, even though you may pause or you may just want to pause your life, life doesn't pause, which is why we have to keep really, really focused on our mindset. So a couple things too, I want to just leave you guys with. Really analyze your vision and your expectations. Keep that in mind. The more stressed out you are, if you have to write a detailed account of your vision out, and I mean paint the picture. An example I can give you guys is for like my dream home that I will own one day. The vision I have for it is a minimum of 10 acres. I want it on a body of water that I can go fishing on. I want to be able to go hiking right outside of my backyard. I want to see trees. I want green. I live in the Nevada desert. So for those of you in a tree area, that's a pretty big deal to me, right? There's miles and miles of no trees out here. So I want to make sure I have trees. I want to experience some winter, but not too harsh of winters. I love summer activities, so I want it to be somewhere that I can go hiking, swimming, kayaking, and I have easy access to those things. That's what I mean about painting a very vivid picture. You can see with that picture that I created for my retirement home, it's not going to be where I live now. It can't be in the middle of the desert because I want a lake and trees, right? I can find lakes here or even just a large pond or a river, but you're not going to find trees. So what do I need to do in order to achieve this, right? How am I going to get there? I create that roadmap. So make sure that your vision is very vivid and very clear so that it can help you set a destination that now you know how to create a roadmap to get to that destination. Look within yourself and really find negative and false beliefs about yourself that may not be true. We all have them, right? We all have those things that creep up into our mind. You'll often hear it called imposter syndrome, where you just think that I just can't do this. We are capable of so much, you guys. You just have to believe in yourself and know you can do it. Whenever those negative thoughts come into your head, stop them. Stop them immediately. Tell yourself, like for me, I personally just tell myself, stop it. That is not true. You are not that person. This is who you really are. And I can tell you at first, that's kind of hard to do, right? You've been telling yourself something about yourself for so many years. You've created this narrative in your head, and now you're trying to erase it. So for a long time, you are going to have to force yourself to say, no, that is not me. I am not lazy. I am a hardworking, good person, right? So just an example of something that you can say. But as you keep saying it over and over again, you will start believing it. Embrace change. That's the next one I would really tell you guys to focus on. Change the narrative in your head and embrace change. It is uncomfortable. It will be really hard. It will be a fight, but it really will lead to a better end for you. It'll look at the conclusion you want to your story. A lot of times we have to change the narrative and we have to embrace change, which is uncomfortable, which is why we stay stuck. So what I would challenge you to is look at where you are today. Look at the things in your life. If you want a change in your circumstance, if you're not satisfied with how your center is going, with how your staff is, how your financials are, just feel just totally unsatisfied, you really need to ask yourself, what do you need to let go of? What changes do you need to make? Who do you need to become in order to get your center to the place it needs to be? So when you think of it in that context there, that is where you really need to analyze what is around you and see what changes and embrace those changes. You cannot have a change in your life without changing yourself. You can't expect your center to change and improve if you don't change. If what you're doing now isn't working, then why continue to do it? That's something that I can help you with too. If you need to reach out to me to join my coaching company, that is definitely something I can help you out with. Also keep in mind, and this is something that really, really helps me going, during the hardest times in your life, the most growth occurs. Your biggest parts of emotional development and mental development and getting to that next stage, the better version of yourself, usually happens during the hardest times in your life. We can definitely orchestrate a lot during the good times, right? Just filling ourselves with good information and really just teaching ourselves, right? Like by reading books, listening to podcasts, just a lot of different things we can do for self-help and growth. But the truest change, things that happen to us, is what changes who we are to the core. And I know we've all experienced that, right? Where something has happened, some kind of life experience that has really changed who we are down to the core. That is where we can choose. During the hardest times, life struggles, we choose, are we going to emerge from this a victor? Are we going to learn from it, make us stronger versions of ourselves? Or are we going to let it consume us, tear us down, and just bring us to our knees, basically? I mean, there's no sugarcoating it, right? We choose. I know so many of you, we all know people who are caught up in a tragedy that happened to them 10 or 20 years ago that they could just never get past, never move past, and their life is just stuck there. That's a choice. It doesn't have to be that way. We all choose where our life is going to go, which, like for me right now, that's why my mindset is so very important. I am at a turning point in my life where I'm going to choose the trajectory of my life. I can let this consume me. I can let it make me freeze and I can stop working, or I can use this time to empower myself and make me a stronger, better version of who I am today. Even if what I face is one of the hardest things I've ever faced in my life, even if it is going to end in tragedy and it's going to be hurtful, I can't change that. I can't change the pain that I'll go through, but I can decide what I'm going to do with it. I can decide who I'm going to emerge from this as. I can decide to make this experience and situation turn me into a better version of me, right? So one of the things I do in order to make sure that that comes to fruition is I do a lot of reflection and journaling. Most successful people that I've studied all journal. Journals are so very important. And if you've never done it before, don't let the task intimidate you. Sometimes I stare at the paper. I don't even know what to write. I don't know how I feel. I don't know what to say or do. And so I just start writing. Even if I start just babbling absolute nothingness, right? Like, the sky was beautiful today. The temperature was cold, but it was beautiful at least. That's something. And you'd be amazed as you're writing that, how the words just come. There's some kind of power in writing that just makes the words come. And if you're not a pen and pencil person, that's no problem. Pull out your notes on your phone, grab your laptop or your PC and just type away. But the bottom line is, do the work. Get that stuff out of your brain. There's things that will come out that you didn't even know were there. And once they are out, you'll be able to start working on them. The other thing I would suggest is, as you're doing that, give yourself some good positive affirmations, right? Like, write things like, I am strong. I will make this through. I will make it through this just totally okay. I am going to turn my business into a huge success, right? My center is going to do wonderful. Make sure that you throw things like that in, especially at the end. When you walk away from your journal, you want to feel empowered, because a lot of times the things that come out of you are going to be hurt and it can be exhausting. So after you get all of that out, make sure what I do is I go through and just like, we'll pick specific things like, yes, this is stressful, but I will overcome it, right? Time will heal. Everything will get better in time. I will work at this. And I do take those specifics and I just hash it out. And sometimes it reveals to me things that I need to work out. Like if there's an issue at my center, like, okay, so what plan am I going to come up with? Right. And I'll just write some different scenarios on plans that I can come up with in order to make things better. So again, work on your mindset. Really just be conscious about it. Follow my group, follow my Childcare Business Coach Facebook page, find my group, join the group, get on there, watch my mindset videos. If you don't have it, go to the link, check on my YouTube channel, but definitely make mindset a priority in your life. I hope everybody got something out of this. I really hope it was helpful to you. Please send me an email at evelyn@childcarebusinessprofessionals.com if you'd like to discuss more about this. I am more than happy to help. I love hearing from you guys. It's really encouraging. It can get pretty lonely on this side of the microphone. So I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of your week. And I am going to try my hardest to bring you guys weekly podcast episodes this year. If you don't hear from me for a while, it's just something going on with my husband's health, but I'm hoping to record and stack a few of these different episodes. So even when I'm out, my assistant can just go through and post them for you guys so that I am continuing to bring you guys good, rich content. Have a wonderful day, everybody. I hope to be able to talk and meet with some of you soon.